Hi, everyone. I hope all of you are well and safe. My name is Juan Arbelaez. I'm an assistant professor of international plant breeding at the University of Illinois. And today I'm extremely excited to talk to you on behalf of the Latin America Irrigated Rice Fund FLAR and present to you our research on redefining breeding strategies for improving rice milling, appearance, and cooking qualities in Latin America and the Caribbean. FLAR was founded in 1995 and is a public-private partnership that aims to improve rice competitiveness and sustainability in Latin America and the Caribbean. It aggregates about 31 different rice research institutions from 17 different countries, and it has a key partner on the Alliance Biodiversity SIAD. Until this day, FLAR has released with its partner 88 different varieties. In order for FLAR to complete its mission, it has put together 8 different strategic guidelines. And for the sake of time, I have concentrated on 2 of them that are relevant to this presentation. And they are the optimization of rice breeding programs and the improvement of grain quality for various markets. So with that, FLAR conducted a survey among 18 different rice breeding programs and asked them about their breeding priorities. From this survey, they identified that there are 3 grain quality traits that are of extremely important in the top 5 breeding priorities. Those are head rice recovery. That's the percentage of whole grains recovered after the milling process, cooking quality, and grain appearance. FLAR went into some of these results and then took a set of 60 rice lines that are widely grown across the entire region and characterize them for their different grain quality properties. This multivariate analysis identified 5 different clusters based on those grain quality characteristics, and the ones that I want to highlight are cluster 3 and 4. 3 in red has about 25% of those rice lines surveyed in this study, and it showed that this cluster is characterized with lines that have translucent, loose, and slightly soft rice grains after cooking. So these lines tend to have high amylose content of about 31.9%, and they're grown in different kinds of countries like Costa Rica, Colombia, Brazil, and Argentina. In contrast to that cluster, there is cluster 4 that represents about 20% of the rice lines survey. And these lines are, their characteristics are translucent, intermediate amylose values of about 25%. And these rice grains aggregate after cooking, and they are typically soft. This market is very unique for Peruvian varieties, and it shows like there are different markets across the South American region, and being able to identify them can improve all the breeding processes to fit lines into these different markets. So about 2 years ago, I was talking with Dr. Maribel Cruz from FLAR about opportunities to collaborate. And we both agree that grain quality offers great opportunities to implement novel tools such as molecular marker for market-assisted selection or genomic selection in order to make the breeding process for grain quality more efficient. And with that in mind, we began a study to characterize a sample of FLAR's tropical breeding lines that Dr. Cruz put together. These are about 300 lines that represent the entire history of the tropical breeding program of FLAR from 1995 all the way to 2015. The first thing we did is to genotype these lines with the 1K RICA. This is a resource that it's deployed by the Excellence in Breeding platform, and it was developed by IRRI, and it's available at different services provided. We use that genotypic data first to genetically characterize FLAR's germplasm, and here we're comparing this germplasm with different breeding program germplasms and also land races from the indica group. What we saw in these results is that the first principal components cannot separate two main groups, the indica land races in pink, purple, and green from East, South, and Southeast Asia, with the breeding lines from IRRI, FLAR, and other breeding programs. Second principal component starts showing some genetic divergence between IRRI or Asian elite germplasm, here noted on black and yellow dots, with the FLAR and SIAD germplasm coated with dark red and light red. So it was very interesting to see these genetic structures among indica lines and among different indica breeding programs. We then phenotypically characterize this FLAR sample of lines for 10 different grain quality traits. 2 of those for milling properties, the optimal head rice recovery and delayed head rice recovery. These are 2 head rice recovery traits. One, when the rice grain was harvested at its optimal day, and delay was when this rice was not harvested at its optimal day. Then we have 4 different cooking quality traits: amylose content, gelatinization temperature, breakdown, and setback viscosity. This gives rice its thickness and its texture. In addition to that, we also have 4 grain appearance quality traits. That's grain length, grain width, grain length to width ratio, and white core rice kernel. In this heat map, we can see the complex genetic correlations among these traits. And this is very important because there are these significantly positive and negative strong genetic correlations across all these different grain quality traits. And for instance, it's an example when we look at the optimal head rice recovery, which we want to increase, we see that it has negative genetic correlations with grain length, and long grains is the preferred grain in the region. So understanding this genetic correlation is very important during breeding decisions when we are considering all these different kind of traits. So we took this genetic and phenotypic information and performed a genome-wide association analysis. Here we're looking at 2 different Manhattan plots where we see significantly associations between markers and the traits amylose content and gelatinization temperature. These markers are actually functional markers that are associated with the GWAS gene in chromosome 6 for amylose content, and the starch synthase 2A gene associated with gelatinization temperature also in chromosome 6. So overall, we identified 13 different markers significantly associated with 8 of the grain quality traits. And for this project, we wanted to focus on those that explain a large proportion of the phenotypic variation. Those are the markers associated with amylose content, gelatinization temperature, and setback viscosity. So we constructed haplotypes, for instance, for amylose contents using those 3 markers, and we regressed them with the phenotypic values for amylose content. And we identified that these 3 markers explain about 60% of the phenotypic variance and are able to differentiate high intermediate, and intermediate amylose content rice lines. For gelatinization temperature, there is a SNP, the SS2A3B, that can distinguish lines with low and high gelatinization temperatures based on the alkali spread value. And finally, there are two markers in the waxy region that can be used to differentiate lines with high, medium, and low setback viscosity values. So we think these markers are extremely useful for marker-assisted selection purposes. So with the support of Dr. Eduardo Graterol, which is the General Director of FLAR, we constructed a validation experiment with Maribel Cruz, Edgar Corredor, who is the tropical rice breeder, and Catherine Loaiza, who runs the Grain Quality Lab. So we genotype with those markers 1,500 lines. These markers are deployed by the Excellence in Breeding platforms at Intertech. So we use that platform to genotype these 1,500 breeding lines from Edgar's program. And we evaluated about half of them for amylose content and gelatinization temperature. So we found that 50% of the phenotypic variation for amylose content can be explained in this set of lines. And we were able to differentiate between height and intermediate amylose content types, say lines from cluster 3 and cluster 4 that we reviewed in the previous slide. For gelatinization temperature, this SNP explained 72% of the phenotypic variation, and we were able to distinguish between high and low gelatinization temperature lines based on their alkali spread value. At this moment, we are phenotyping the lines for setback viscosity, and pretty soon we're going to have those validation results. So in conclusions, we selected the markers WX-int, WX-AG, and WX-AR, and SB228 as great markers for marker-assisted selection strategies at early stages of FLAR's breeding programs and FLAR's partners breeding program for amylose content and gelatinization temperature. We expect to confirm those results for setback viscosity, which is a more laborious and expensive phenotype to measure. These molecular resources are deployed by the Excellence in Breeding platform and can be used by FLAR and any of its partners through that alliance with Biodiversity and CIAT. What's next? We also are conducting some experiments where we're trying to implement genomic selections to improve the breeding efficiency for some more complex grain quality traits, such as optimal head rice recovery and delayed head rice recovery. So here we're looking at two box plots that have 3 different genomic selection models. The first one and last one, RF, is for random forest, and RR blob is for a G blob. And these are univariate models that we run in a cross-validation experiment. And when we integrate multi-traits, these phenotypic grain quality traits that are cheaper and easier to phenotype in addition to the molecular marker in a multi-kerner model, which is the one in the middle, we saw that we could increase by 10 and 50% the predictions abilities for optimal head rice recovery and delayed head rice recovery. So we're very optimistic that genome-wide prediction approaches can be implemented to improve the efficiency of breeding of some of these complex traits. And with that, I want to say gracias. Thank you to this wonderful team that participated in this project. FLAR has been an amazing collaborator. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact Dr. Maribel Cruz or myself. Our emails are in this slide. And if you want to know more about this study, the link to this paper is also in the slides. So thank you so much for your attention. I hope you have a great meeting. Bye-bye.